Hi everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thank you very much for watching our earwax removal compilation video today. Two patients in this compilation video. The first one here has some very dry wax in both ears today. Lots of little pieces are gathered around the entrance and a much deeper section here. So you can see we're just attaching these smaller bits from around the outside edge. Now this patient wasn't completely blocked up, so they did have some hearing, but it was more of an irritation than anything else in the ear canal, because with jaw movement, especially with a very hard piece of wax like this, you're going to be very aware of it, and it was really irritating this patient's ear. So you can see we're just attaching all the little bits from the side here before we work on that bigger piece a little bit further back. So we just need to unstick this from the canal wall first of all. There we go, and now we can see it's nice and mobile, so we're going to bring this down the canal and very slowly bring this out. It just snaps a little bit about halfway through on its way out to the canal, so we'll get rid of that one piece and then go back for the second section. There we go, and we'll take a good look behind that now. Just push through these little cilia here. There we are, eardrum looking nice and healthy there, lovely and shiny, and not a jot of wax left, looks absolutely perfect. Now this is the patient's other ear here. Very tough piece of wax. This one is not going to budge with suction here at all, but there is this little gap just above, so perfect wax for the St. Bart's hook here. We're using this a lot recently, so you can see we're just dropping over the top of the wax, drawing this down, using the side of the hook then just to fold this wax forwards, and you can see it's all coming away in one big chunk. There we go. So we're just going to pop the hook into this to lift this up so you guys can take a look at it. There we are. If we take a look behind that, you'll see just at the entrance to the canal, this little dry section of skin and wax here. So we've got a dry piece of skin to the right side. We're just going to detach now in a second. There we are, you just see it lifting off the canal wall there. So we're just going to break that away, get rid of that dry piece of skin. And then we've got these little crumbly little bits of dry wax all going up the left-hand side of the canal there. So we're just going to drag the suction tube just over the top lightly, and that's going to break all these little crispy bits away, and they're all going to get suctioned into the tube. There we go. And eardrum there. Light reflex on this side, not looking quite as pronounced. You can see it's quite spread out there, which would indicate to me that this patient's probably got a little bit of a retraction. The eardrum just not quite sitting in its normal position, just diffusing that light across the surface of the membrane. So we've got 1 1/4 inches, 3 centimeters there, quite dry chunks. We shot it from the side as well, so you can get an idea of the height of these pieces, because it's not always easy to see from when you look at them from sideways on. But yeah, you can see some quite big old chunky pieces there. That second section, the piece at the top there, was what came out of the second ear there. So on to our second patient in the compilation. This patient now has got this wax. At first we're hearing it looks quite dry, but actually the front end of the wax is quite soft, so not completely sort of liquid, but almost like this sort of plasticine-y kind of texture. And what we've got here then is this much harder piece behind. So because this front section, the patient's been using some drops in here, it's going to soften this front section a little bit, but it's also made it quite sticky. So unfortunately it's stuck really firmly to the canal wall here. So what I'm doing first is trying to lift all the way around the outside edge to detach this wax from the canal wall before we start drawing this down the canal. There we are, and you can see that the shape of the ear canal, much deeper in, is a little bit more open than this front section, which is more of an oval shape. Now, because it's dried into that more rounded shape, as we try and pull it through the oval, we're trying to pull it through this narrow gap here. So what's happening is it's getting stuck. So we've got to kind of work this along the canal wall just a little bit here, just trying to wiggle it up and down to draw this out of the ear canal. There we are, really trying to get this through. We could drop in with a Jobson horn, but it looks quite mobile. It looks like it's moving quite well here, so it is going to come away. There we go. You can see that much smoother appearance there at the front. Now that's the bit that's been sitting against the canal wall, so it's formed this really smooth layer. And there we go, quite a long old piece there. Lots of little bits of sort of dry skin, dry wax here on the left-hand side. Let's just detach all of those. You can see how sticky and tacky those have become there. Just taking away those little bits and bobs around the outside. There we go. You can see some very fine little teeny weeny hairs in there as well. We're just taking this outer section away. Another little bit of dry skin there. And let's take a look. Eardrum looking nice and healthy there. Good light reflex, really pronounced. This triangular light reflex you've got there at the bottom right hand corner of the eardrum. So this is the second patient now. This is their other ear. You can see here, it looks quite dry, this one as well. It goes back a little way. There is a gap above the wax there. So patients be noticing when they bath or shower, because you will inadvertently getting a little bit of water into your ears when you bath or shower. When that's been happening, it's been getting trapped in there. But as we lift, you can see it's this kind of skin material. So we're expecting this to look like wax, but as we lift it up, we've got this kind of plate, this thin layer of skin here. So we're just going to try and detach that first of all. You can see we've gathered a lot of it into the suction tube. We're kind of making a circular wiggly motion here just to try and detach that from the canal walls. It's holding in really, really tightly. As tight as we're pulling this out, something is holding this back. So as we start drawing this out to the canal, here we go. You can just see it starting to feed out, but look, it's still kind of holding really, really tightly in there. As much as we're wiggling this on the front end, something is still attached in the back end there. So as we draw this down, we're changing position now, trying to get onto the top of the wax, really trying to kind of lift and draw this out. We're holding in position there, allowing the pressure inside the suction tube to build to get a much tighter grip on this wax. But you can see it's really just not wanting to come out. So we've got the crocodile forceps on top of here. We've got wax at the front end. But watch what happens when we clip or clamp on just behind that wax and start to pull. There, you can just see the beginning of a little skin ribbon. So that's what's been holding this into the ear canal. Now, as I'm drawing this out, we're still coming out of the canal here, and that's still being held in. So I'm going to switch position and clamp a little bit further down with the crocodile forceps here. And unfortunately, you can see it just tore the front top portion of this away, but you'll still, there we are, we're still attached to the back end there. But as we bring this forwards, there's another little piece of ribbon sticking out of the ear canal here. So we don't know obviously how far back this goes. So we're just going to clamp on this. There we are. Sorry, I forgot to edit that little black bit out then. So you can just see we're getting a good clamp on there. As we draw down, you can see more skin coming forwards. There we are. And as we draw this away, that bit sheared away, it's brought the next section of skin ribbon. So this has actually been wrapped around a piece of wax. So as we draw this out now, you can see that little bit just sheared off there. Let's try and suction this section now. It's getting a bit thin. We'll just rip through it with the forceps. So as we pull downwards, it drew that next section of wax. So let's clamp the wax now rather than the skin. There we are. You can see that block of wax that's been tied to the back end of this. So we're just going to nip over the top with the Jobson horn here. It just helps to push it out the rest of the way. There we go. Fold that right out of the canal. There we are. You can see it was quite a big plug that was sitting behind there, but all in front of that was this sort of skin ribbon there, you can see. So as we take a look in, all gone, eardrum looking nice and healthy there, so all looking good. And we'll take a look at the wax now in a second. There we are. Look at that. So you can see the size of some of these skin ribbons that were coming away here. There was quite a bit, and that plug at the end is the bit to the far right-hand side. So we've got 2 inches. Oh, I missed it. I think it was about 4.5 centimeters altogether. So a fair amount of skin and wax came out of that patient's ear canals. You know, considering that they were having some difficulty, more so with that second ear, you could see there, where the skin had formed this layer around that plug of wax. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did voicing it over. It is Friday, so guys, go away, enjoy yourself this weekend, and we shall see you again on Monday. Have a good couple of days, guys, and I'll see you real soon. Take care.